hard to borrow money, it's hard to pay it off. And there's only two ways you can really pay it off. One is to have increased taxation revenue, or the second is to cut back on expenditure. Now, this government has not cut back on expenditure. They are heading towards the biggest budget deficit in Australian recorded history. They are heading towards the biggest spending budget on record. They are heading towards what could be the biggest amount of debt that we have seen for many, many years in Australia, perhaps even since World War II. So they are breaking all the records. There's no reason to doubt that Kevin Rudd now is going to start to make hard decisions. I mean, you know, he's Santa Claus on steroids. He's spending more money and giving more gifts away than anyone has seen in generations.
Just a couple of other issues. The OECD has raised concern about the removal of individual contracts in Labor's industrial relations laws, the new laws, warning that it could hurt youth unemployment. What is the Liberal position now on these individual contracts? Would you bring them back?
Well, David, we have always supported common law contracts. The Liberal Party believes in freedom.
As does Labor. These are individual statutory agreements.
Yeah, well, they're effectively still in place. Let's be very clear about it. They are effectively still in place under the government's laws. The bottom line is that the OECD is saying that when you have collective bargaining, when you have enterprise-wide bargaining, it makes it harder for young people to remain affordable labour for employers.
So would you get rid of some of those provisions?
Well, our policies will be very clear by the time we get to the next election. I can assure you of that. But what I do say...
They're not clear at the moment,
Well, David, we're not the government. Kevin Rudd is running the government. He likes to focus on us. What we want to do is to get people focusing on him, because he's the one pulling the levers, and he's pulling them in the wrong directions. It's not just us saying that, it's the OECD now. And remember, Kevin Rudd promised that out of all these spending packages he would create 300,000 jobs. Where are those jobs? Unemployment is rising. The number of jobs lost in Australia over the last few months has been enormous. And of course, when it comes to the repeal, the change to workplace relations, Kevin Rudd refused to model the impact of his laws, knowing full well that the laws would cost jobs. Well, now, so be it. The unemployment figure will be hung around Kevin Rudd's neck, because the Australian people, whilst forgiving of the Prime Minister, whilst he's spending money and whilst we still have an unemployment rate with a 5 in front of it, they will not be so forgiving should unemployment rise substantially directly as a result of what Kevin Rudd is doing.
OK, just finally, Joe Hockey, despite all of that, the latest news poll today shows the Coalition failing to make inroads against the government. Malcolm Turnbull's satisfaction ratings have fallen further. Remembering that Brendan Nelson was given the chop because your colleagues thought he couldn't cut through, what do you think of these figures? Do you think Malcolm Turnbull is cutting through?
Well, let me tell you, David, if you have a Prime Minister that is spending as much money as Kevin Rudd is, if you have a Prime Minister that is not prepared to make any hard decisions, and if you compare his first 18 months in office with what was our first 18 months in office, where we had to massively cut budget expenditure back in 1996, you'd say to yourself, this guy, the current Prime Minister, hasn't made any hard decisions that would cause people to change their vote. He hasn't made any hard decisions at all, and there's no sight of him making a hard decision. This week he had a political challenge. He had to disclose to the Australian people exactly what happened on a boat full of refugees that was coming to Australia. The Prime Minister sought to create a massive distraction yesterday without any new economic data. On a whim, he went out and said Australia is inevitably in recession as a way of distracting Australians from the issue before.
You've been hopping into him for not coming clean on this recession issue, and now when he does, you're hopping into him for
Well, I'll tell you what, we hop into him when there's further evidence the Australian economy is not living up to what he had promised. But yesterday there was not one skerrick of new evidence to cause the Prime Minister to abandon the political issue of the day or the week.
Well, he says there is an IMF report this week and new data from China.
Yeah, I know. Look, I know Kevin Rudd. This is Kevin Rudd political management, pro forma. I mean, this is basic stuff. And I would hope that everyone would see through it and understand that when he gets into a difficult position, when he has to make a hard decision about something like protecting Australia's borders, he looks for the weapon of mass distraction.
All right. Shadow Treasurer Joe Hockey, good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us today.
Anytime, David. Thanks.
And stay with us after the break on PM Agenda. Our panel, Mark Kenny and Steve Lewis. Don't go away.